I would request our embassy from Ethiopia in India. So I request Mr. Demeke Atnafu Ambul, Consul General, Ethiopia, on stage, along with founder and president of GIBF on stage to felicitate Mr. Demeke, sir. Furthermore, we have Mr. Tesfamariam Gebremeskel, the first Secretary of Ethiopia. Give a big round of applause, everyone. Now here will be the presentation from Embassy from Ethiopia in India on the business opportunities in different countries. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Let me start by extending our sincere and warm appreciation for Global India Business Forum for inviting and organizing this important international business seminar. We are very glad to be partnered with the Global India Business Forum on the main objective of promoting Ethiopia and Indian business and trade relationship. And before going to give you today my presentation, I will give you a 5-minute, will show you a 5-minute video, what Ethiopia general profile of Ethiopia. Ethiopia is a country in Africa with ancient civilization, never colonized, and a civilization of 3,000, with the second largest population in Africa. We call Ethiopia a land of origin of many things, and which the video which you are going to see is a 5 minutes, what Ethiopia, why Ethiopia is a land of origin. You can see then I will present my business opportunity in Ethiopia.
Ethiopia, land of origins. Ethiopia invites you to discover why it is the origin of so much history and culture, vibrantly alive in a landscape of dramatic beauty. For this is a land of origins. It is the cradle of humanity where our ancestors first walked on 2 legs. It is also the source of the Blue Nile that flows from mystic Lake Tana. And it is the origin of coffee that grows wild in the cloud forests of the biosphere reserves of Kaffa and Yayu. Ethiopia is old beyond imagination, but there is much that is still tangible. The remains of great civilizations like Aksum with its giant stele, the mystical churches of Lalibela in Tigray, hand-hewn from rock, colorful Harar, the 4th most holy city in Islam, and powerful kingdoms that gave splendor to Gondar with its 17th century fairy tale castles. The UNESCO has recognized this wealth with 9 World Heritage Sites. Ethiopia's mysterious ancient cities contrast with lively Addis Ababa, the diplomatic capital of Africa that has developed an excellent reputation for top-level international meetings. Today, Ethiopia is a mosaic of cultures, a living kaleidoscope of peoples from many different ethnic backgrounds and speaking over 80 different languages. They offer genuine warmth towards guests in the land of which they are so proud. Flamboyant and spiritually uplifting, Ethiopia's religious and ethnic festivals, such as Timket, Meskel, Ethiopian Christmas, Ramadan, Irecha, and Peoples, Nations and Nationalities Day, give you the chance to be part of an authentic experience unlike any other, and to leave with enduring memories. Ethiopia is also a land of dramatic landscapes of extraordinary contrasts. From the Afro-Alpine Simien Mountains with peaks over 4,000 meters, and the Bali Mountains, both in the highlands, to the Danakil Depression, the lowest and hottest place on Earth. For Ethiopia not only has peaks over 4,000 meters, weird geothermal features, active volcanoes and huge salt beds, but also lush rainforests, rolling savanna, and glistening lakes such as those dotting the Great Rift Valley. The range of terrain and climate make Ethiopia the fourth largest biodiversity zone on Earth, with more unique species of flora than any other country in Africa. Touring Ethiopia, you'll see the world's rarest wolf, the twisted horned mountain nyala, and the walia ibex. You will enjoy mingling with the endemic gelada baboons in their natural habitat. There's all this, plus typical African fauna. With over 860 species, Ethiopia's bird life is among the best in Africa, thanks to its incredible range of different habitats and proximity to the equator. This is also a paradise for high-altitude trekking, as well as walking and hiking at every level and all year round. You can also join the country's legendary long-distance runners in the annual Great Ethiopian Run in Addis Ababa, or one of the increasing number of trail running events. Ethiopia is truly a wondrous land. It is hard to believe how old it is and yet how new. Make it your travel destination and take the time to be enchanted by her extraordinary past and to share in her dynamic present. Come and you will discover why Ethiopia is original in many ways.
Okay, thank you very much. And as you have seen, Ethiopia is a land of origin. I would like to emphasize only on two things. One, origin of human being. That means the earliest remains of human ancestors is found in Ethiopia dating back to 3.5 million years old, Lucy. That means Ethiopia is the ancestral homeland of human being. If you go and go back to say, 3,000-4,000, all human beings are going to be ended up found in Ethiopia. That is why we call Ethiopia a land of origin of human being, and it is also your ancestral homeland. So come to your ancestral homeland and do business in Ethiopia. Second, what I want to emphasize why we call Ethiopia a land of origin is coffee. You know coffee, everybody loves coffee. The origin of coffee is in Ethiopia. Coffee originated in Ethiopia in 9th century. It went in 15th century and 16th to Middle East, Yemen and Arab countries. Came to India in 17th century, coffee. Went to Central America and Southern in 19th century. Coffee has derived its name from the place where it is originated in Ethiopia, Kaffa. There is a place in Ethiopia, southwestern region, like here, southwestern. We have in southwestern region a province called Kaffa, where coffee is originated. Coffee has derived its name from the place where it is originated, Kaffa. Coffee is not an English word, it's not French, it's not Arabic. It denotes the place where it is originated, Kaffa, where it is in Ethiopia. So when you are drinking coffee, it reminds that its origin is in Ethiopia. Come and also taste Ethiopian coffee. This is the 2 points which I want to emphasize. I'll go directly to my presentation, is why to do business, why to invest in Ethiopia. What are the factors? I'll see the economic factors. I'll explain the market factors. What are the priority sectors? Then I'll go the incentives, and I'll go briefly Ethiopian-Indian trade and investment relationship. As I've mentioned, Ethiopia is the second largest population in Africa. First is Nigeria. Ethiopia is the second. Why to invest in Ethiopia? Ethiopia, one, is a commitment of the government. We have a government in Ethiopia, a continuity of government for the last 2,000 years. Imagine we were never colonized. Our history of government had never been disrupted. So we have a continuity of government, and the government which is in Ethiopia is the most stable government. In economic factors, it's a multi-party system, like India. We are more federal. Every 5 years, there is election. It is one of the less corrupted, according to the World Bank and others, less corrupted country in the world. Second, economically, Ethiopia is a country which has registered double-digit economic growth for the last 14 years. So this shows the prospect of doing investment in Ethiopia. We are able to earn Ethiopia foreign direct investment in 2007, $4 billion US. We have very stable macroeconomic factors and the stability of the government, and so is another important factor. The economic growth, sustainable double-digit economic growth is another factor which can encourage you to come and do business and invest in Ethiopia. In market-wise, number one, to do business, to do investment, market is important. Domestic market is more than 110 million population. In African standard, in Africa there are 55 countries. In African standard, Ethiopia is the second largest population. So there is huge domestic market. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to produce, which can consume. In terms of purchasing power parity, Ethiopia is the fourth largest. Since the economy has started growing, the middle income class is increasing, coming up. Those who can purchase what had been manufactured and produced. So number one big market for any business to do is the domestic market. Huge domestic market. The second market is the African market, that had been mentioned by panelists. COMESA. COMESA is a common market for Eastern and Southern Africa region, comprising of 22 countries, with a total population of 500 million. Whatever you come and set up in Ethiopia, you can export freely to these all 22 African countries. There is a domestic market, there is African market. In Africa also, the continental African free trade already we signed, it's coming into force. So if you come and do and produce in Ethiopia, you can export to all 55 African countries. The African population is similar with Ethiopia, for 1.25 billion African market. So market is very important. The domestic market, the regional market, the African market. The fourth important market is the American market. Under the African Growth and Opportunity Act, where Ethiopia is eligible to export whatever produced in Ethiopia with no quota, with no tax, to the American market. If you produce here, if you want to export to America, you have to pay duty. There is a quota limitation also. But whatever you produce, you come and produce in Ethiopia, you can export to the American market without no tax, without no quota. The fifth market is the European market, the EU. Except arm, whatever being produced in Ethiopia can be exported to the European countries, to the EU member countries, without no quota, without no tax. So domestic, regional, African, the American, European market. We have also bilateral agreements with Canada, Australia, China, Japan. With these countries, preferential trade agreement, which giving a trade preferential for the Ethiopian products. So in terms of market, whatever you want to do business, whatever you want to do, if you come and produce there, market is important. The domestic market, regional market, the African market, the European, the American market. This is one comparative advantage of coming and to do business in Ethiopia. Second, labor. Labor cost is one of the cheapest in the world, even in African standard. My colleagues here from Tata, you can witness. It is between 50 to 100 US dollar for graduates. It is also highly trainable because a medium of communication in schools is English, easily trainable and very competitive. The cheap labor force is available. In addition to the market, labor is important and the labor cost is one of the cheapest in African standards as well. The third factor is energy, electricity. Ethiopia is being known as the water tower of Africa. We have hydropower potential, solar power, wind power, and so on. Till nowadays, 98% of our electricity is hydro-generated. It is very cheap and environmentally friendly. 3 USA cents per kilowatt, the electricity cost. It is one of the cheapest, again, not only in the Asian standards, but comparing with African countries, it is one of the cheapest in the world. And the fourth is water. In Ethiopia, we are called as the water tower of Africa, Ethiopia. We have plenty of surface water. We have also plenty of underground water and the rain. There is more than 122 billion cubic meters of surface water. We have 2.6 billion cubic meters of underground water, in addition to the rain. But we never utilize because of the technology. We are never colonized. We are still agrarian. We never utilize. So water cost is one of the cheapest. 8 cents per metric cube. So for anyone to come and do business, to come and produce, market is important. I mentioned 6 markets. Labor is one of the cheapest. Energy is one of the cheapest. Water is one of the cheapest. What is important remaining is land. Land is in Ethiopia a public property. You can get a land in a very minimum cost. When it comes to the priority sector, the government had already established, built up industrial parks, mainly for the textile, agro-processing, pharma, and these are clustered, specialized industrial parks using modern art of technology. What is expected from you? You can go, visit, see, lease, then you can simply move your machineries and start producing. So land is not getting a problem, especially in the priority sectors. These are the reasons why the comparative advantage Ethiopia offers to do business and investment in Ethiopia. Then what kind of incentives? Number one, exemption of custom duty. For whatever you want to produce, to set up there, no tax. Second, income tax exemption. Income tax exemption up to 6 years for the manufacturing sectors. And those who are in agricultural sector, it is up to 9 years. This is the most lucrative incentive package when comparing with other African countries. Third, there is export incentives, which export is 0%, and other incentives. You can also remit whatever you get there, the profit, the dividend, the proceed from the sale. So the incentive packages are already there. So what are the priority sectors? The top priority sector for us is agricultural process. Ethiopia is agrarian society. We have 1.14 million square kilometers. Half of it is arable land. Arable land. So agriculture is, if you want to industrialize, our economic transformation program of the government was agriculture-led industrialization. First, we have to increase the productivity of agriculture, modernize it, rather than producing and exporting by raw, less we can put value addition to it. Then we have to export, because export, we have plenty of advantage. So in agriculture and agro-processing is our top priority. There are 3 million hectares of land which are ready for agricultural investment. In agriculture, floriculture, horticulture, we are producing a number of oilseeds, species, a number, sugar canes, coffee, tea, all cereal types. So agriculture is, especially agro-processing, is our top priority. Now the government has established more than 12 industrial parks for agro-processing. For the processing of oilseeds, pulses, cereals. For the processing of fruits and flowers, meat and meat products, fish and fisheries, starch. For the processing of baby foods, for the processing of baby and other food items. So Ethiopia is agrarian, we have plenty of land, plenty of water, huge labor force, and what we have is the agriculture and the water, so we want agro-processing in this area. At this western part, I came from Ethiopia, I canceled my trip, came back to this, because I know this belt is rich in agro-processing. So, no need for the land. Already the government has built up the industrial park for agro-processing. You can come and visit, see, because you have very rich, affordable machineries for agro-processing. So we encourage you to come and make use of this agro-processing sector. Second is textile. We have more than 10 industrial parks in textile. Why textile? Because of the reason I mentioned, cheap labor textile, energy. The energy cost is very less, electricity, water is less, no land because industrial park rate. We are encouraging textile and the garment not to sell in Ethiopia, but to export to the American market. There are today 19 Indian textile garment factories. Indians are the second, especially in textile garment investment in Ethiopia. All are exporting to the European and American market. It's a win-win situation. We have all the facility, we're given all the market access, you have the technology, the machinery, let's come and join together. So textile and garment is another sector. Third, we are looking for pharma. When it comes to the pharma, in the trade, bilateral trade between Ethiopia and India, pharma is coming this year. The most export of India to Ethiopia is pharma. Do you know how much India export to Ethiopia in the pharma? More than 150 million $. Ethiopia is 110 million population. We have only 20 pharma companies, manufacturing companies in Ethiopia. These 20 manufacturing pharma companies producing only 20% of the total demand. We are exporting 80% of the demand from abroad. So the government decided not to export rather than import substitutions. Rather than these companies exporting to Ethiopia, let they come and put there, and the market is there. Only for the pharma, there is one industrial park in Addis Ababa. So those who are there come and make use of it. Because the government, who is going to buy, it is the government. Even if there is international bidding, 30% preference for those who are producing in Ethiopia. And the government is giving 25% advance payment for that manufacturer to manufacture the medicines. So pharma is another important sector where we are looking for. Leather and the leather products, where India, you have very rich experience. Ethiopian livestock population is the first in Africa and the 10th in the world. We have more than 55 million livestock population, but we never use it. Hides and skins, you are very rich. Come and you can make shoes, you can make baggage, anything, because India, you have the technology. So leather and the leather product is another area. ICT, information technology, is another area where we are looking for and where India is very rich. So we are inviting you to come and see, visit, do business, produce and do business in Ethiopia. Let me come to Indo-Ethiopian relationship. Our relationship goes back to 2,000 years back, because Ethiopian-India relationship. Let me come to the recent, because of the economic trade and investment relationship. Our investment relationship, India are the third largest investors in Ethiopia. 600 Indian companies had got investment license with a registered capital of $5 billion, out of which 400 companies with more than 3 billion are investing in Ethiopia nowadays. And they are investing in these sectors which are mentioned. They are the second, because the Chinese are always the first. And many are, especially 60% are in manufacturing sectors, 70% are in agriculture and agricultural products, the others are in consultancies, ICTs, and so on. Especially in textile garment, I mentioned there are 19, starting from Raymond, Arvind, to the small ones. So Indians are the third largest investors in Ethiopia. Indians, the majority of these investors are from the western part, from Gujarat and from this part of the world, from India. That is why the government decided to open up a consulate general in Mumbai. Our consulate general is a commercial office. Rather than those flying to New Delhi, it takes more than 1 hour, 2 hours. The government decided to come closer to these business people and to support them. So our office is here mainly to support, it's a commercial office to support this business, Indian entrepreneurs and investors. When it comes to the bilateral trade, it's more than $1 billion. The major export is iron and steel, pharmaceuticals, transport equipments, machineries, plastic products, paper and the paper products, rice, go on, the list go on. Ethiopian export to India is 44 million only. Because I told you we are agricultural society. What we are exporting is mainly agricultural in Europe commodities, like oil seeds, pulses, because ours is organic. And some mineral items. So while the trade balance is in favor of India, we cannot say 1 billion, given the 2,000 years relationship between the two countries, when given the huge market Ethiopia is there, in terms of Africa, the second largest, still we need the trade between the two relationship, import and export has to increase. While we are again balancing the trade with Indian investment, as I mentioned, over 3 billion now on the road, on the floor, on the airs in Ethiopia, we want to increase both to high level. So this is the reason why we are always working with a number of chambers and the commerce. Why again Ethiopia? The last chance. Ethiopia is a gateway to Africa. Africa, 55 countries. There is an organization who all African countries are members, African Union. Before it is called African Organization of African Union, now African Union. All African countries are members. Its headquarters is in Addis Ababa. So all African countries had representation, 55, in Addis Ababa. It's a gateway. You should not need to go to Nigeria, South Africa. If you are based there, you can meet all African countries in one place. So it is why we call it as a gateway to Africa. Addis Ababa is the fourth largest diplomatic city in the world, as you have seen. Geneva first, New York, Geneva, Brussels, Addis. Because not only Africa Union, all United Nations organization headquarters in terms of Africa has a headquarters in Addis Ababa, the European Unions. So it is the fourth largest diplomatic center in the world. So a gateway to other countries as well. The third reason is Ethiopian Airlines. Ethiopian Airlines is flying to 123 international destinations. It is flying to more than 63 African cities. Africa countries are 5. It's flying to 3 cities in Nigeria, in South Africa too. It's starting now Mozambique, Beira, and so on. So Ethiopian Airlines, when it comes to India and Africa, it's bridging India with Africa. Bridging India with Africa. If you want to go to any African countries, you can go, because Ethiopian Airlines flying twice a day from Mumbai. It is flying twice a day from New Delhi. Daily 4 flights. And we are going to start in October 27 from Bangalore. Because people from Bangalore, they have to come to Mumbai or they have to come to New Delhi. Why 4? So the Ethiopian Airlines decided to fly. Now it is going to fly from Bangalore from October 27 to all African countries. So Ethiopian Airlines is a gateway to Africa. To take Indians to Africa, you have to fly to Ethiopian Airlines. How business people do in Mumbai? They take the early hour flight, reach Addis Ababa at 7:30, meet 3-4 office, came the same day on the same flight to Mumbai. So Ethiopia, when we say Ethiopia is a gateway to Africa, because of these reasons. And we are more than happy, all of you, to come, especially to come and explore the opportunity existing to Ethiopia. May I recommend you come. 2 days is enough. It's from Mumbai. Why don't you come with Global India Business Forum? It is global, not only here. Let they take business people to Ethiopia. Let them interact. We can arrange a meeting, one-to-one meeting, buyer-seller meeting with government officials who want to do business investment. We can arrange. So may I recommend you, especially Global India Business Forum, to look forward, to take the business people to African countries. Since it is trend beyond the West, why don't you go to beyond to the West? Not only sitting here, take the people. We are here ready to support you, nothing else. We can arrange a meeting, everything with you, in collaboration with Global India Business Forum. And I'm very much pleased to to answer any questions, either in one-to-one meeting or any questions you raise. And thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you so much, sir, for this much huge knowledge. And please, once again, can we have a big round of applause? Furthermore, I would like to ask few questions. I just want few questions from audience. Anybody is having questions or queries regarding this session? Yes, you can ask. Yes?
Good evening, everyone. I have a question from the gentleman. He spoke very less on information technology. So what all opportunities are there in his country that I want to explore when it comes to information technology?
Could you, ma'am, please repeat your question?
Hello, good evening, sir. My question is that you spoke very less on information technology, so I could not get what all opportunities are there in your country, if you can explain it.
Yes, I gave you general information. In regard to information technology, I said that it is a new, and the government had also, like, industrial park, we have Ethiopian ITC information technology villages there. So in whatever aspect you are in an ITC, if you have any proposal, we can channel you to the pertinent ITC, Ethiopian ITC village. The government had given top priority for the ITC. We have come up with the Ministry of Innovation and Information Technology. It's a very growing, an infant stage. So whatever you are interested, because we need in every aspect. So whatever you have in your mind, in your expertise, if you come or email to us, we can discuss, we can channel send to the Innovation and the Technology Ministry, which is designated for this. And if you want to have an office and set up there, we have already built up the Ethiopian ITC village. So the opportunity are there. As I mentioned to you, the incentives apply for all. If there is specific, then the government will consider that specific as well.
Okay, got it. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir. It was a wonderful speech. I just want to know, you haven't mentioned anything about chemical industry in Ethiopia. So I just wanted to know, is there any scope for that industry too?
Yes, definitely, because I was rushing because of the time. Chemical industry is one of the areas where we badly need. I mentioned to you, Ethiopia is a country never colonized. We are agrarian. We are starting to modernize. When we come to the bilateral relationship, I can say that we have signed more than 20 bilateral relationships. The most important is education. Our education system is based on Indians. In 1917, when we modernized our education system, we never saw to British, French, and German. We saw to India. And there were Indian teachers in 1970s, 80s in Ethiopia, 10,000 teaching the rural areas, elementary and high schools. My high school teachers are Indians. Our mode education system, starting from elementary, up to now university level is an Indian. Now there are 3,000 Indian professors teaching in our higher educations, PhD program, in science and technology. So when we see that chemical industries, other many mentions which I haven't mentioned are really badly in need of Ethiopia. There is also for the chemical industries, the industrial park is coming up. So it is an area where we need. I know Indian companies who are exporting chemicals to Ethiopia in large, especially in chemical laser. We have laser industries, and the scope is very high. That is the sector which I miss. Sorry for that. And you are mostly welcome.
Thank you, sir. Any more questions from audience? Yes. They're at the last. Okay.
Good afternoon, sir. So Alphanzam Life Science is a biotech company based out of Belgaum. We are close to Kolhapur. So we work in the sugar industries and distilleries. We would like to know what kind of potential we have in this sector in Ethiopia, sir, please.
Yes, sugar cane, we are very rich, the agricultural products. We have coming 10 sugar industries. Now the government wanted to privatize these sugar industries. For those who are interested there. But what we are encouraging, you can come and engage in sugar cane production. You can also sugarcane in sugar industries. You can work either with the government in joint venture, with Ethiopian joint venture, either by yourself. I saw yesterday, how sugarcane and tobacco are rich in this area. So this is an area where we need badly, so that we are mostly welcome. And we can discuss in one-to-one discussion what you need specifically.
Hello, sir. Could you just please be specific regarding agriculture, fertilizers, and all? How can we develop and how can we do business regarding this particular thing? Fertilizers.
Yes,
organic fertilizers, basically, because you mentioned it's more of organic based. That's what you are doing right now, right?
Fertilizer?
Yep.
Yes, fertilizer is still we are importing as agrarian. The government decided not to import. Almost we are going to import substitution, encouraging to set up fertilizer industry. Fertilizer industry is heavy capital intensive. It needs huge capital. But India, you have a very good, natural, fertilizers processing. If you have very good technology, I know you have very good technology. If you have any proposal, we can send to the Ministry of Agriculture and Irrigation, Ministry of Agriculture, so that we can arrange, you can go and meet, discuss. This is what we need. Rather than even producing, manufacturing in Ethiopia, we are going to that non-chemical type of irrigation system, fertilizers. So mostly welcome.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all for now. Due to the lack of time, we need to move further.
Sorry, because I am representing two different companies, so I have two different questions. One is from IT and the other one is manufacturing and trading. And we are giving, because you said that there is a government undertaking related to the sugar industry. And here in India, almost more than 400 sugar factories are there. And we are the supplier to more than 250 sugar industries. So we are a big supplier. We give right from crushing of the sugar cane to converting into juice, then making the granules, segregating the different sizes of the granules in different plates, then sacking it into the bags and bagging it into the bags and sacking it in the godown. The whole system, automated system, we provide. We take the turnkey projects. So considering that, what is the scope in Ethiopia? We have already done the deemed export to different countries, Sudan, Nigeria, and all. So what is the scope in Ethiopia for that?
Thank you very much. one thing which I'm to mention is Ethiopia is the only country which is getting, a concessional line of credit from the government of Ethiopia to support our development effort, $1 billion. And the government of India had given this, especially for our sugar industries, 2 sugar industries. We are using Indian technology. So as you mentioned, the scope is high. So we can discuss one-to-one and see the possibility of how you can chip into that sugar industry sectors. So this is an area where we badly need. Do you know that the export-import Exim Bank of India has an office in Addis Ababa? Why? It is only in Ethiopia and Johannesburg. Why? Because to support Indian investment, Indian business in Ethiopia, the Exim Bank. So even the government of India is supporting Ethiopia with $1 billion concessional line. It has also opened up Exim Bank branch office in Ethiopia. It also caters for some African countries as well. So the government of India is encouraging. We have a bilateral investment promotion and a protection agreement with the government of India. So your investment is protected. We have signed double taxation avoidance agreement with the government of India. So both governments are working closely to create an enabling environment for the business and for the entrepreneurs of the 2 countries. So that's what you are requested is very important, and we can discuss and we can see how we can support you to engage in Ethiopia.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. And yes, if anybody is having more questions, more queries, and that will be entertained after this session during the networking section. And furthermore, thank you so much, sir, once again, and you may proceed.